Right, so today I'm going to teach you how the umbrella drill can help you with the lag in your golf swing, which is going to probably help you strike the ball and hit it a little bit further. So we're going to go through a 3-stage process and we're going to end up with that drill. Start off like this. I've got my ball teed up, I've got myself a 7-iron, and if I take a setup to this golf ball, you'll notice that I've got an alignment stick in the ground. Let me show you how I've set that up. Once I take an address and I rotate away into my takeaway, notice how the bottom of the sole of my golf club literally just clips that alignment stick. And notice how when I do that, I've not got any wrist set here. So no wrist set and my club hits the alignment stick. So this is the first little drill I'd ask you to go through. You're going to take an address, you're going to make a little swing where you're clipping the alignment stick on the backswing. And then from here, you're then going to be letting your wrists set and hinge as you begin your downswing. And you'll notice that when I do this, as my club passes the alignment stick on the way down, just how far away from the alignment stick it is. So we're going takeaway, clip it, try again, and then we miss it on the way down. What this is really going to help is it's going to stop you sort of hinging the wrist early, and then what so many amateurs then do is throw the club away. And if that's the case, then I'm going to be hitting that stick on the way down. We want to hit it on the way back and miss it on the way down. So let me go ahead and do that. Now, because I'm a little bit more aware of what's happening over here, this might not be the best strike in the world, but let's see if we can go ahead and get this movement correct. So you saw I hit the alignment stick on the way back, and you'll notice I hit the ground target side of the ball on the way through. That's perfect. I got a super low ball flight. It only carried maybe 30, 40 yards. Hopefully it wasn't too close to the deer that you see over there. But that was perfect because it shows me that I went nice and wide in the takeaway. I then transitioned adding in that wrist set. It was that wrist set and having this lag at this point in my golf swing, which allowed me to then strike the ground after the ball. Allowed me to have the handle forwards. That's what puts the shaft lean in. That's what enables me to hit higher at the club face. That's what gives me that compression, that feeling that we're searching for. And in this little exercise, that's why the ball goes out super low. So this is the first little exercise. And the reason I want this as the first exercise is because if you're struggling with, lag in your golf swing, we don't want to be doing it at full speed, making full backswings and, having to worry about it in a swing at 70, 80 miles an hour. In this little exercise, I'm only making little short swings, but you can see just how I'm allowing that lag to be added in during my golf swing. We have to have what I call fluid wrists. Now what that means is that the wrists, I've got the ability to move through this motion. I can actually hold on to the golf club relatively tightly with these 3 fingers. And if you think about a golf swing, potentially that club, even though it's a 7-iron, is going to be moving at about 90, 95 miles an hour around my body. If I hold loosely, the club's going to go spinning down that fairway and I might never see it again. So I have to hold on pretty tightly down an impact. But holding on tightly with these 3 fingers doesn't want to lock that wrist. And that is where I see so many golfers going wrong. As they grip onto the club a little bit tighter, it really puts tension through here. Just watch what happens when I grip on as tight as I can. So those 3 fingers are squeezing as hard as I can on that golf club, as hard as I can. But I can still have a fluid wrist, and it's that difference that we need to be aware of. Gripping a little tighter here is needed in the downswing, but it has to be with a loose, fluid wrist. So that was our first little exercise. How do we then translate that? Well, we're going to move on to the umbrella drill. And this is really going to be how you take it through to a longer golf swing. I want you to imagine that this golf club, bear with me, is an umbrella. So I'm holding the handle of the umbrella. And if it was raining, I would need to protect myself from the rain. I would need to have that umbrella above my head. So if I made a backswing pivot with my body and had that umbrella above my head in this position, hopefully that's protecting me from the rain. This would be what we class as a traditional, obviously, backswing, but you can see how that umbrella wouldn't be above my head. So the idea in this little drill is that we're trying to make a backswing movement with almost 0 wrist set at all. But what we then do is we add that wrist set in the transition. So we feel like we're putting an umbrella above our head, and then in transition we add the wrist set. What we start to get is we start to get this angle being maintained right the way down towards this last delivery, this impact position. And again, as I said before, it's that helps me strike the ground in the right place. Those of you who are really struggling to create lag, you might be in a great position here, but you're going to be starting this way, where you're releasing that angle in transition. This exercise, whilst it's extreme, and this might not be how you ultimately swing the club, it's training you to do the opposite. It's training you to have 0 wrists and then add them in transition. So you're starting to get the opposite feel. And a good drill, one that works well, is essentially there to give you the right feels, give you the opposite feels. Now, the reality is when I actually hit this shot, it's probably not going to look quite as extreme as that, but I'm going to hit this shot feeling like I point the club above my head, add the wrists in transition, and then move through to impact. And it wasn't anywhere near full speed, but it was a perfect golf shot, dead straight. Again, I landed the club in the right place. That's the information I need, and hopefully you'll see how my wrists worked correctly in that golf swing. Now, stage 3, which we said we were going to work this in 3 stages. Part of creating lag on the way down is the sequencing. I've done this little exercise before, but just watch what happens if I move this golf club away in this direction, but then start and move the grip end towards the target. So this end starts to move back towards the target. What does the club head do? It lags behind that movement. Now, I'm not doing that with my fingers. I'm not intentionally creating that lag. It's the sequence of events that I have. So what we need to do is, if we're looking to create lag, when we are making our backswing, we need to start with the lower body. We then need to start with the upper body, and it's then the hand, and the club head gets lagged behind naturally. So what we can start to do is we can start to do the umbrella drill with a step across. And what starts to happen is we start to get the lag being created in the way down, but we start to create it a little bit more naturally through the sequencing of our movements, as opposed to, physically just adding that in. So again, I'm going to take my address to this golf ball. I'm going to move my trail foot across, it's my lead foot across to my trail foot. And I'm now going to go umbrella drill and step across to hit the golf ball. Now, as you can imagine, that's a little bit more difficult to time, but again, it was good. I managed to get that real nice feeling of the club lagging behind my body. The angle got delayed, and then we're able to strike it. So that sequence is really going to help you feel what lag is, add it into your golf swing, and doing it in a correct, natural way. What we never want you to do is try and physically feel as if you're holding on to an angle. It never really works. What we've done in this video is just giving you some external cues early on, and then some movements and a sequence which is going to help you get lag. Now, if you go through those sequences and you're still really struggling, you're finding it's almost impossible to create that lag, got to check your grip. Everything I've just done would be impossible with the poor grip. Let me show you what I mean. The golf club has to be running through the fingers of my lead hand, the base of the fingers, as you can see there. What that does, it gives my wrists this movement through the golf swing. If that handle gets too high through the lifeline of the hand, so you can see that's in a very different position, suddenly my wrists aren't able to move. So if I hold the club like this incorrect move, it doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't really create that lag. And the only way I'm likely to do it is to fan the club face way open, and then I might be able to get somewhere close, but as you can imagine, the ball's going to go way off to the right. It's not going to be great. So 3 sequence, follow that. That's how you get lag, but you just need to make sure that your grip is pretty functional at the start, because that's really the key to making this possible.